Hello, everyone. Right on time tonight. I hope you are all doing well. We'll give this a couple minutes. Let everyone kind of get in here. We will talk about tonight. We have an action project tonight. And it looks like we're having some buffering difficulties. So we're going to go ahead and kind of let that work its way out as well. Hello, if you're just joining, hello, hello, hello. I hope you're all doing well. So we're early tonight. We're starting at 6. And the reason we're starting at 6 and we're starting early is because we're going to make an album. Hi, Kate. Nice to see you. Hello, Kelly. So tonight we're going to make a longer than an hour. I have all the supplies. We have a bundle. I did some work ahead of time on the album to make it go a little bit smoother and faster. Yes, Marlene says, hey y'all. Yeah, I know that it's breaking up. Hi Tina, hi Candy. I don't know what we're going to do about this. I have checked my internet connection 100 times. It's 100% good. This is just Restream being dumb, so we're gonna let it kind of do its thing and work the bugs out. So while it does that, I can see that it's like it wants to be pixelated and stuff, but I can't do anything about it really. All right, so we're gonna make a mini album tonight. This mini album will be perfect for all of your fall photos. I have gone ahead and kind of planned the album out. Heather and I put together a lovely bundle, and we're gonna go through all of this, all of these pages, page by page. So we're gonna start with our title page. So as you can see, I have added little Post-it notes to each of the tags because I wanted to make sure that anything I wanted to do that needed like heavy dry time got done. So we're going to go ahead and start with our title page. We're going to work our way all the way through all the pages of the mini album. Now for tonight's mini album, I chose 6 tags, which will give you 12 pages. And I have it kind of sketched out so that we'll have 12 photos. But you can, of course, add more tags to your album. The tag pack that's included in the bundle tonight has 20 tags in it, and that would be perfect. You could do a really nice big chunky album. You can do a small album, whatever your heart desires. We're going to do 6 pages, 12 sides tonight. Hi, Kate. Yes, sometimes it comes through differently on our trials. Yeah, it looks clear now. I'm hoping it stays clear. Hi, Carol. So nice to see you. So one of the things that I did to off camera before I started, because I knew that this was going to take a little bit of time, was we have these beautiful chipboard pieces that are included in the bundle. If you're interested in the bundle, there's a link in the description box down below that will take you over to that bundle. I will be using what is included in the bundle and a couple other things too. And I'll mention those as I use them. The thing about creating a whole mini album is the fact that like you kind of you get involved and you start creating and you're like, oh, but I need this. Oh, but I need to add that. So that's where we are right now. So included in the bundle is the Hello Fall chipboard. We're going to use that as our title today. Also included in the bundle is the white gesso, the 2-ounce white gesso, which I have gone ahead and added a layer of gesso to the chipboard already. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to color this with one of the other mixed media elements from our kit. So I'm going to take these two. I'm going to go ahead and take the two chipboard pieces. I'm putting them on a piece of printer paper because I want to paint on them a little bit. And I want to keep this as mess-free as possible for everyone. Now, we have lots and lots of mixed media elements in this bundle that we can use to color our chipboard title with. You are in by no means limited in what color or what design or what you want to do. For the background, I am going to spray the background or the shadow piece with the Gourd Guts Chroma Mist. And then this top piece, we're actually going to go ahead and color it. I think we're going to color it with Hawthorn. We have, if you have a preference, by all means, I'm not stuck on this. We have, in the bundle, we have hawthorn, sage, yam. I have some chestnut and some linen aqua pigment. So we could paint this top piece, any of those things. We could also spray it with the Chroma Mist in Copper Shimmer. So if something like that sounds better, go ahead and leave me a comment. You guys can pick. I think all of these colors are beautiful for fall. They will all match our pattern papers. They will all match our washi sheets and the paper we're going to use tonight. So, hi, Penny. Yay, Penny's here. I'm so glad you're here, Penny. You have no idea. Penny is going to probably be helping us with links because there might be a lot of them, again, because we're making a whole project tonight. Okay. Cheryl says she's excited to see how you construct the booklet. It's so easy how we do this. Like, it's so easy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just spraying the Gourd Guts right onto this. And then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. It will dry fairly quickly. What I'm going to look for, I'm going to place it right here, and I'm going to keep an eye on it as we construct some other pages in our album tonight. And when this gets to the point where it's mostly dry, but there's maybe just like a little puddle or something, because when you put the gesso on the chipboard wants to like crinkle up a little bit. So I'm not looking for this to dry completely, but when it's mostly dry, we're going to dab off if there's any puddles that form. I hope that makes sense. And then we'll be good to go. So that's the Gourd Guts. It's this lovely kind of mustardy brown yellow color. And then we're just going to grab from my stash a really easy paintbrush and get some color onto the Hello Fall. So what do you guys think? Should we do green? Now keep in mind, this is like sort of what the color looks like. Gourd Guts is like my favorite Chroma Mist for fall ever. This color is so, so gorgeous. I absolutely love it. We have Hawthorn, which is like a creamy kind of taupey color. We have a gorgeous sage. We can go bright and orange with the yam. We could go like really light with linen. We could go really kind of darker and like reddish, like a reddish brown with the chestnut. So many colors. Let's do the chestnut. And hold on one second. I meant to grab one of my pigment palettes. We're actually going to use a bunch of these pigment palettes today. I have, I think, 3 of them. And I have them all. I forgot to just pull them over to my desk. We're probably going to use like 3 of them tonight. Okay, so let's do the chestnut. I don't know. That sounds good. And there hasn't been any comments saying, no, use this. So we're going to use chestnut. So we're going to give this a good spin. So how's everyone doing tonight? Are you super excited that yes. Are you super, super excited that we're going to be creating like a whole mini album tonight. Like, how fun is that? I wanted to do something that was a little bit of a standalone project because I know many of the people that come to the lives are primarily card makers. And so I wanted to do something that wasn't like a scrapbook page because then you're getting into a whole other hobby, right? Whereas a mini album is just, you can do it once, play with the products that you already have in your stash. And then if you really like it, you can keep going. And if you don't like it, it's kind of like a once and done. And you can just use your supplies to continue to make cards. That was my thought. So we're going to see how everyone likes this. Maybe we'll do one, like a little tag album like this for each season. We'll see how this one goes. Okay, so I am just painting on the chestnut aqua pigment. I didn't add any water to this. I am using it straight, full strength because I really want to get as much of that color onto here as possible. There is no wrong way to do this. I have done a couple of these chipboards now, and when they dry, first of all, they're drying super fast. It dries super fast, but also it kind of evens itself out. Like when it's all dry, you'll see it'll look like we just kind of watercolored this, if that makes sense. So we've already put a layer of gesso on this. And if you have any questions about any of the steps that I took before I went live, most of that was just the things that I knew it needed to have a longer drying time. So if it needed a little bit of a longer drying time, I went ahead and did it beforehand. The other thing I did was I did all the die cutting. So we didn't have to mess with pulling up my machine and putting my machine down and all that. We could just go ahead and create. So you can put layers of this on if you want something darker or lighter, but it will just go right onto that gesso and it will dry nice and quick. Okay. So there's our fall. I'm going to go ahead and place this aside. And I'm going to set this aside. And like I said, I have 2 more of these on standby. We're probably going to use them. Hi, Shirley. Hi, Glenda. Yep, absolutely. Glenda said it's always nice to have instructions to go back to. Yes, this, you will have instructions to come back and recreate this anytime you like. It'll just be on Bruce Monroe's channel. So while those pieces we just colored dried, we can go ahead and work on our tags. So each of my tags has little post-it notes on it so that I didn't forget what I wanted to do, what techniques I wanted to teach, what things I wanted to show you for each page of the album. So the paper pad I'm going to work with today is the Norma's Knittings. And I'm just going to flip through here until I find a pattern that I like. I chose this one. So a couple of things. First off, I chose this one because I thought that for fall, it doesn't matter what photos you're using. If you're using landscapes, if you're using pumpkin patch pictures, whatever it is, whatever photos you are with. Now, these mixed media manila tags, they are longer than just know that going in. It's a matter, we're going to tear, we're going to cut, and we're going to play. But know going in that if you cover a whole tag, you're going to have a little bit across the top that won't be covered with a pattern paper. That doesn't me, not in the least. So let's just use this. I am going to tear towards because if I tear this, I'm going to get that really awesome, cool white edge across the bottom, which is what I want. And then I'm going to take the smaller piece with the white edge, and I'm going to across the front of our mini album. Just using glue. I'm going to place it across the bottom. Then for the top piece, I want to do the other half of that torn paper edge. And I want to put it up here, but I definitely want to leave a large gap. So I just want this torn pattern paper across the bottom and across the top. And the reason that is because I want to put our title in the center between these two pieces. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm just going to add some wet glue. Hi, Nikki. Yes, it's been going choppy and then not choppy. Even when I went through and kind of like, I did like a dry run and it was doing it. So there's nothing, I've done everything on my end. Like, I'm the only one in my house that's allowed to use the internet right now. And like everything I could think of to do on my end, I have done. So unfortunately, sometimes depending on life, like that's just how it's going to be tonight. So once those two pieces are down, I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors and I'm going to trim around the edges. I'm trying, Susan. My hope is that the longer I work and the more as the live goes on, it gets better. I have done everything I can to ensure that it isn't going to be choppy or things like that, but I have done it all. So. And I'm trying my best to use all of my words, like being very descriptive about what I'm doing in the hopes that if you're rewatching this or watching it now and it is a little choppy in places, you still get the idea of what I'm doing. Okay, so this is just a hole punch, just a regular like hole punch. And we need to do that. We need to preserve the holes in our tags because this is how we're going to bind our album at the end through the holes. So I have the piece of pattern at the top and at the bottom that we tore. Now we have this open area in the middle, which is where we're going to put that Hello Fall title piece that is right there drying. So now we're going to flip this over. I'm going to pull away my little Post-it note with my directions. And we're going to do some splatters on this side of the tag. So this is a mixed media tag. It's nice and thick. It can take water. It can take all of these gorgeous mediums. So we are going to go ahead and do that on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my little palette. I might need to grab a mister because we're probably going to need a little bit of water as these dry. And then we're also going to grab another palette. Here's our second palette, and I'm going to wipe this one off. Hold on a second. Maybe I have a third one. Nope, the third one has some stuff on it too. The joys of a stick it stamp palette is that it will dry like this, and then you can add water to it. But we just want to clean this up because we need to add more to it. Shirley says it's good now. Yeah, so I can see it. I have my laptop a little bit off to the side, and I can see the live feed, and it's just like it's good, and then it's not, and then it's being kind of particular tonight, and we're just gonna let it do its thing. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. Now, if you are good at flicking, if you are a good flicker, then for this, I would say go ahead if you have any the aqua splashes in like the black or the gold, and you're good at flicking. I am horrible at flicking with the aqua splashes. Like, it doesn't flick. We've had this conversation before. So I'm going to use my paintbrush and my pigment palettes and flick the way I know how to flick best. So I have the chestnut, the yam, and the hawthorn. I'm going to add 1 spritz of water to those to get them just a little bit thinner. I'm going to take, not that one. I'm going to take this, I'm going to mix this around real good. And then we're going to splatter this side of our album in all 3 of these colors. And I'm not worried about this extra paint. It's perfect because this will dry and I can use it again right on that pigment palette. So here's the yam, which is this gorgeous, bright, beautiful orange. And then we have the hawthorn, which is like a creamy color, like a creamy beige or taupe brown. Like this was like a red, this one's like a red brown. And then the hawthorn is more normal kind of brown, like a creamy brown. So we're just going to go ahead and splatter. Nikki says her brother has been to Knoebels twice in a week. That's awesome. I miss Knoebels already, and it's only, October. Such a fun place. So let's add a little more water to this one. My idea is that I want a couple splatters that are a little bit bigger, just a couple. So I'm going to add a little more water to the orange, get this nice and like really lots of water on the brush. And then we can even kind of like drip it, can even kind of touch it, get like some bigger. This is a really easy way to add interest to a background, no matter what your no matter what project you're making. Okay, I'm gonna hold this up to the light a little bit so you can see. Pretty. And then we can let this dry because we can come back and add it. So we're kind of going through all of the pages first and adding some of the aqua pigments and the things that dry a little faster. And then we're going to come back again through each of the pages and add our embellishments and add our papers and add our washi tapes and all of that. So this is one that I did before I went live, because this uses from the bundle the gourd colored velveteen glaze. So I stenciled this on using the pumpkin field stencil, and I stenciled it on messy. It is not perfect. Not perfect at all. It doesn't have to be. That's kind of the fun thing about using or doing a mini album. On top, these are just the base pages, right? And on top of this, we're going to put embellishments. We're going to put photographs. And when you're flipping through an album like this, you're looking at the photographs. You're not really looking at, for perfect stenciling. We don't need perfect stenciling because we're going to cover a lot of this up. The other thing to know is that if you stencil and you don't like it, you have 20 of these tags in the bundle. So there is nothing wrong with saying, you know what, that's not what I like. Toss, start over. Let's try again. Okay. So this is the linen. Remember I said we're going to use all these aqua pigments, and you can see how it's darker or lighter, much later than the Hawthorne one. And I'm going to put a wash over this whole tag. The other side of this tag, we're going to cover it in paper and add photographs and everything. Oh, wrong one. But for this side that I've already had the stenciling to, I'm just going to take a wash right over the whole top. It's going to mute the colors a little bit. It's going to cover a multitude of sins, like where my stenciling wasn't completely perfect. It's going to dull the color down just a little bit, but that is a-okay because this is a background. This isn't the focal point of your project. This is just to add another layer of interest to the finished project. The fun thing about mini albums is that, adding those layers, adding layers of mixed media, layers of torn paper, all that kind of stuff is like the fun part. So I'm just going over the whole tag. This is with the linen aqua pigment. Hi, Ellen. So nice to see you tonight. Thank you for coming. I said before, this is going to be a longer live tonight because we're going to do this whole mini album. And I have done a little bit of prep work, but just with things that I thought would be boring for you guys to watch. Okay, so we have this layer now of the linen aqua pigment. It'll dry. I'm going to push this up so you can kind of really see how it's going to play over those dimensional pumpkins. We're going to go ahead and set this one aside and go to the next one. And actually, I think this might be the end of the ones that we need to add aqua pigments to. I think it is. Just this one. So this is going to be the last one. that's going to have any kind of mixed media or anything on it. So this one, I already went over it again with the gourd velveteen glaze, and I put it through the dots stencil from Brutus Monroe. So cute. And I thought that it might be fun to just add a little bit of the Copper Shimmer Chroma Mist over top of it, just for some shimmer, So we're just going to go ahead and get this in, and then we're going to add just a little splatter over it. And then when it dries, this will have that gorgeous like copper color onto it. Okay. Make sure all my bottles are closed, because that would be bad. Okay. So we'll let this aside to dry. So we just have a couple pages where we added just a little bit of mixed media, a little bit of interest. We used everything, all of the mixed media products in the bundle, except for the Sage Aqua Pigment. And we might use that as we continue to work through our albums. Okay, I'm going to set these aside. I don't want to make a mess. I don't want them to spill or get smudged before the paint on them can dry. And I have my little stencil tray right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop the brushes into the stencil tray. Easy cleanup. So, random dot stencil. Everybody got it. Okay. Just kind of wipe up my desk here. And then let's come back and take a peek at these two pieces. So here is our Hello Fall, and it's dry. This one is almost there, but it still has a little bit. I'm actually going to take a piece of paper towel, and remember I said how the chroma mist will kind of pool in different places. We don't need that pooling. So I'm just going to take a little piece of paper towel or tissue, just something. And just those areas where it's wanting to pool, I'm going to soak up the extra, because we definitely have like extra here that we don't need. So, and then we'll set that back aside to dry. So here is that paper I did all the splattering on. Included in the kit, there is white cardstock. There is brown butter cardstock and macchiato. When I went to print my photographs for our mini album today, my printer ran out of ink and I couldn't get it delivered to me today. I had to wait till tomorrow. So what I have here is I planned out photographs that are 2 by 3. So I cut the photo mats for all the photographs. I have 12 of them here at 2 1/8 by 3 1/8. I did that because, and the reason I chose these darker colors is because once you put these photographs in here, you want your photographs to pop. We want them to be the star of the show. And so by putting these nice dark brown mats onto behind each of the photos, you're going to end up with something where the photograph is going to catch your eye. You're going to have the beginning of your album here. You're going to flip to the next page, and the photograph is what you're going to see next. And that's what we want. We want to see the photograph. Okay. So that's the plan. So I have 6 in the dark macchiato color, 6 in the brown butter, and each of the photographs would be 2 by 3. So then your mats will be 2 1/8 by 3 1/8, and that will just give them this really nice, deep, dark, gorgeous mat on them. Okay. So you can do portrait style photographs. You can do horizontal um, style, landscape style photographs. So I'm going to start with a landscape one, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to use wet glue to adhere everything down. You wouldn't have to. Um, I feel more comfortable with the wet glue and making sure that this is going to stay onto my tags, especially when you consider that we're not putting these in any kind of a page protector or anything. So what will end up happening is people will be touching and moving and flipping through all of the pages of our album, and we want to make very sure that things aren't going to fall off. So when you have this 3 1/8 by 2 1/8, it's actually going to span, if you have a horizontal photo, it's going to span the entirety with the mat of your tag, which is awesome. Okay, let's get some paper. I want something, maybe this one. So this is probably my favorite paper in this whole paper pack because it has these like little ziggy zaggy things. Those are awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Penny's like, it just 3 times in Sarah's chat, 2 YouTube channels and a Facebook group. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Really, that we have a link for the random dot stencil. Everybody. Like everyone did it. I'm gonna fussy cut just the bottom portion of this paper, pattern paper. I want to grab this kind of zigzag pattern. And I'm going to fussy cut it because that's going to add interest. I could do just like straight across, right? You would still get the idea. But by kind of fussy cutting out that cool kind of zigzaggy pattern, it's going to add a little bit of interest to the album where someone is going to go, that's interesting. That's different. It will catch your eye. So we can take this and we can put it up down at the bottom, which is where I'm going to put it. But you also could totally have the option of putting it here, almost like a little border under your photo. Or if you don't mind popping a hole, you could also kind of have it come up here a little bit as well. In fact, I think we're going to do that too. So we'll go ahead and we'll adhere it right here across the bottom of our album. Thank you, Heather. Yes, the flowers are what we're going to do next. We're going to add a flower to the page we're working on, and I'm going to show you how those all come into play and what I did and how they work and all that fun stuff. Okay, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, other than sometimes the screen is getting a little pixelated and wonky, which I think maybe the internet or YouTube or Restream or whatever kind of calmed down now because I feel like it's been better. So we're going to put this across the bottom and trim it off. Ellen says, I bet I love those patterns in that pack, but I hated wearing them back in the day. You know what? I can say with a great deal of certainty that my mom never put me in these patterns when I was like little girl. Like she didn't. But I have 2 grandmothers and an aunt, all of whom are knitters and crocheters. And then I married my husband, and his mother was a heavy knitter and crocheter. And I have blankets from both of my grandmothers and from my mother-in-law and from my aunt that look very similar to a lot of these patterns. Nikki says it balanced out. Yep. Okay, so we're going to put this down at the bottom, and then I'm going to take that little strip you just saw me do, and it was probably like maybe a 1/4 inch. I didn't really measure it. I just wanted a little bit across the top. And then we're going to talk about the flowers. So in our bundle tonight, we have this adorable daisy stamp and the coordinating dies, and the simple blend. This is the Roy tricolor ink pad, so it has the deep red and the orange and the yellow. So what I did was I took the solid colored flowers in the stamp set and I stamped them, put the stamp right on the block, and just went down in the ink pad and stamped them out. Super easy. I let the colors, you can see the colors, I let them kind of blend or mix or do, whatever they wanted. I did the big flowers, I did the little flowers. And I just did the ones that were solid. I didn't do the outlined ones. I didn't feel like I wanted to color, but I felt like I wanted something more solid. And this ink pad would give me that range of color without the need to have to pull out alcohol markers or zigs or anything. Although the stamp set does have 2 other flowers that are line drawn. So if you are a big colorer, you have that option to color the flowers in whatever fall colors you would like. So I stamped them out, and then I went ahead and die cut them using the coordinating dies. So when I did that, I ended up with flowers that looked like this. And I wanted something in the middle, right? Like, look how pretty those flowers are, but they don't have they needed a middle, right? So when I was doing this, and that was this morning that I did these flowers, and I wanted a middle, I went through my Bruce Monroe dies. I'm going through stuff, and I discovered that these little sequin dies, which are part of the Smile cutting die set, they looked like they would make the perfect little flower centers, and they do. So I used I cut these out of the macchiato cardstock that's part of the bundle. I cut just one pass of the die through the real big sequins and then the little sequins with the holes in the middle. And I went ahead and added them into the centers of the flowers, and they made great, perfect, gorgeous flower centers. And then I wanted more. So let's get these flowers. So I kept 2 that I didn't add the centers to. So I'm going to go ahead and get my stabby tool. Look how perfectly, like they just fit perfectly right there in the center of each of these flowers. So we're going to flip this over and pop it into here. I'm going to move this over. Okay. So just like that, super cute, we have flower centers. But wait, now I need some bling. So I grabbed this was a little bit harder. I wasn't sure which of the crystals I wanted to use, but I knew we needed some crystals. So I went with, it's called emerald green, but I chose this one because I didn't want to go all orange, right? And like there's the red shift, which is more red, and I kind of went, eh. And after kind of literally grabbing all of the crystals that I have and putting each of them into the middle of my flower, I decided that the emerald green ones were the ones that worked. Those were just the ones that looked the nicest. to my eye, but you could use whatever looks good to your eyes. I didn't like there was yellowy topaz ones. And while I love all of them, I love all the blue, all the crystals. These were the ones that just seemed to look best in the centers of my flowers to me. So I'm going to go ahead and set these two aside to dry. But here's what they look like all dried. Like, so pretty. And they have that extra little bling in them. Hold on. Let me push this down a little bit. See, they're so blingy. And here's the big ones. Like, so cute. All right. So back to making our album. This was one of the things I did ahead of time because I felt like I was going to need a bunch of flowers. And I did end up doing 5 of the large ones and then 3 of the small ones. And I wanted to show you how I did them, but I also didn't want to spend an hour stamping and die cutting and adding bling to flowers. So I just did 2 so we could have 2 as a thing, as an example. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the flower right down below. I will say that smile cutting die, like, it has come in handy for so many things. It's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so we're going to put the flower right there in the middle. You can put the flower wherever you want. And I know it doesn't really, we kind of took away from our little zigzag pattern, which I hadn't really expected to do, but it looked best in the middle. So that's where we're putting it. Okay, so page 1, done. Flip it up. Page 2. We're going to do lots and lots of gorgeous paper layers. So let's see what we have here. We also have our washi. Sorry for the crinkly. Sorry for the crinkly. Ta-da! Oh, we're not barking. We're not barking. Just don't even start with me. All right. So in this little bag, these are actually scraps from a scrapbook page that will be on my channel another day. Let's do a portrait style. Hold on. Give me 3 seconds to walk over and close the door. Come on. In or out. They forget that I'm out. Oh, thank you, Ellen. Ellen says this is coming together so cute. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So we have horizontal and vertical. So let's do a portrait style page for this one. And then these are scraps from another project. And I'm here to tell you that the way that I tend to make projects, I always end up with scraps, lots of them, always lots of scraps. So let's go ahead and use some of them. And I can't be the only one. So these scraps can be any size, any dimension, any color. It doesn't matter. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to layer them up, wonky and fabulous, behind our photograph. Now I am going to keep it's going to come off the edges and I'm okay with that. So we're going to start over here in the corners. And I put lots and lots of tape on the back of this photograph. There is no mixed media on this tag, so I don't mind. I'm not worried about, I can go ahead and just use my tape runner. It's really just the pages that have the mixed media on that I don't want, that I want to really use the wet glue. So these happen to be really nice, like squares, but they wouldn't have to be squares. They could be strips. It could be whatever. down. And then remember, we'll have a photograph. So we want to kind of get this into the middle of the page. Ellen says she has to leave and pick up her grocery order. So she'll be listening in. Okay, Ellen. Fabulous. Thank you. Cheryl said these are such great fall colors. I agree. Yes, yes, yes. These are gorgeous, gorgeous fall colors. So what I'm noticing here is that I really love the idea of having the photograph in the middle. And then I also really, really like having like the little cutout here where the whole kind of peeps in. That section is making me super happy. So I'm going to go ahead. And then we're just going to trim off with our scissors the pieces that go off the edge of our tag. And again, these could be any size scraps. This is just a really fun way to get a lot of really fun pattern on the back of a photograph and make it look unplanned. Make it look like you took a whole stack of paper and just tossed it on the page and then kind of collaged it all together. So then I can just go around here. And since we have all of this pattern for embellishments and things, we want to keep it pretty simple. There's going to be, once you add a photo, this particular page will have a lot going on. Okay. So I don't want to add a whole bunch more, but I do want to throw away my scraps. So then we'll put our photograph and it will be right here. And then included on the, in that daisy stamp, that's part of the kit tonight, we have some things that would definitely be considered, like if you're a card maker, these would be card sentiments. I think they work perfectly for some kind of embellishments or little titles. So that's what we're going to use them for tonight. So I have this little with love, which I think is super cute and perfect. So we'll have our photograph, we'll have our with love, and then we're going to put a daisy. We're going to put, well, technically we're going to put two of them, but you'll see how that's going to work in just a second. So we're going to add our little with love right here. And then I'm not going to adhere this entire daisy to with glue. I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to just make it so that the gem, the center of the daisy, is adhered to the tag. That's what I'm looking for. Just the daisy center. I'm going to trim this piece off. And I'm going to trim this piece off. So this tiny little piece, not going to use that. But this one, we're going to go ahead and take this little scrap and we're going to pop it up here. No waste. Things always look really cool when they're kind of coming off the edge. And so this one was super simple, but then you have your pretty photograph. Okay. And then don't forget also that since this is an album, right? These 2 pages, depending on how you get to the binding, these 2 pages will be beside each other. And it doesn't matter how you would flip that up. Okay. So let's grab another sheet of paper. And again, you can use any one of these patterns. Let's go for one I haven't used yet. I haven't used this one yet. Oops. So if you are going to make this album, I want to know in the comments what kind of photographs you're going to put into it, because that's the funnest part. All right, we're going to have to grab the big trimmer. Hold the phone. We have to grab the big trimmer. There we go. So what I want to do is I am going to diagonal cut. I'm going to create a diagonal cut. So I don't want this to be, I kind of want it to be like here, right? So I'm not doing it from corner to corner necessarily, but I want a diagonal piece of this pattern. And then we're going to go ahead and just do the corner. Another reason that I really chose this particular pattern paper for this project is because the designs in this particular paper pad are very like interchangeable, right? So if you're coming back to this video later, and you have this pack of paper, you don't have to, this could be any pattern. It doesn't have to be specifically this one. Oh yeah, this would be a really, really, really great gift. So Nikki said, maybe I'd make one with my dad's trips for him for Christmas. This would be a really great idea for a gift, definitely. And you could gift this with, like, you would not even have to do the pictures necessarily. You could put the mats in and just have a little tag that says, you need to have your pictures size 2x3. And then you could come back. So there's that. Let's add some of this washi tape. So we have this really dark pattern. This is pretty dark. I want to use one of the lighter washies on here. Okay. Susan says baby talk scraps placed around photo center looks extra coming off of page side. If going to make album, what type of, I'm not sure what question you're asking, Susan. I'm not sure what question you're asking. And then she says, photo am I going to use? What type of wait, hold on. What type of photo are you going to use? So you want to size your photos to 2 inches by 3 inches. And then the mats are 2 1/8 by 3 1/8, which will just give you a really thin, skinny mat around the photo, but because we're using these really dark papers, that thin, skinny, dark mat is going to really make your photo pop and make your photo be the star of your project. I hope that that answers your question. So you want to, and your photos can be any photos, any kind of fall photos you like. And if you wanted to, you could even grab like a different paper pad and a different set of washi and, mix up the photos that you're going to use. Okay, so we're going to add our photograph here. And if your photograph is portrait, it'll fit real nice just like that. And then we're going to add another one of our flowers here. If your photograph is horizontal, it would probably work more in the center. So you could, again, use either way, use the photos either way you like. And I just took that washi and put it all the way across, followed this diagonal line. Nikki says, I was trying to think how I would get the photos. So, if you wanted to do this, you could also, in addition to the album, you could give a gift card to like Persnickety Prints or, wherever you really like to get your photos developed. And then you could give that along with the album. So I'm going to go ahead and add this little one. This one says, may your day be delightful, which is perfect. For a little, and these are these little sayings or sentiments in this stamp set are so nice for a mini album because they're not huge or, they're not big. They're very small and cute. Okay, so we have 1, 2. We're halfway done. Here's our third one. So I stenciled across the bottom of this one. I'm trying to remember what the name of this stencil was. It just completely slipped my mind. Hold on, I have it here. It is this one, Autumn Leaves. This was one of the Stencil Palooza stencils, so I'm not sure. I should have checked on that first. I just was in my own little creative world. So I did stencil and I layered all the stencils so we have the trees across kind of like the bottom third of this page. And then I wanted to do something across the bottom to kind of ground those trees so they're not just flying off into the air like they are now. We want to ground them. So let's do that first. Yes, Susan. Susan, you got it. Susan says scrap photos, size photos 2 by 3 inches, then use thin, skinny mat 2 1/8 by 3 1/8. Yep. Perfect. Exactly. Nikki says, my dad went to India for the first time this year. I have a photo. There. Oh, I lost it. My dad went to India for the first time this year. I have a photo printer, so after I have the album, I put the pics in for him. There you go. That sounds good. Perfect. Okay, so here we have that little strip that I'm going to use to ground my leaves. Ellen says this would be adorable as a pumpkin patch visit memory album. Yes, yes, it would. This, you could use the fall leaf slide stencil. Yep, you could, definitely. That would be a really, really, really good use. Agreed. So we'll pop this and we're going to line it up. So there is a stencil option in there that you can use. And Heather has a really great idea. She says, this would be so fun for like pumpkin patch or Thanksgiving dinner get together. Yes, it would. Susan says she's using the chat to take notes. I love that. Yeah. I really, really, I like to, whenever I make anything really, I really love, and this is just me, I really love to mix like dark and light and that contrast. I love the contrast. Maybe it's just because I'm dramatic. Who knows? Okay. We're going to pop a horizontal picture here. Photo mat. And then we kind of have this cute little scene in the little open space. And if you don't have this autumn leaves layer stencil, you could have the leaves in here, just kind of make them look maybe like they're flying across the page or something cute. Okay, so next one, my little Post-it notes. We're gonna play with washi tape. So now I need you all to trust me. Trust that I know what I'm doing. I'm taking the washi papers and I'm thinking we're gonna tear. Well, I'm gonna start by tearing the first 4 and then we'll see if I need more. Oh, thank you, Susan. Susan says the page with the trees is so darling. Okay. Was that 4? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. I love to tear paper, by the way, in case you missed that part. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to take all of these and we're going to mix them all up. Sarah's the rebel of tearing paper. Yes, Sarah the rebel is tearing paper. Lots of paper. All the washi strip paper. But it's okay, I promise. Because wait till you see what we're going to do with it. Don't throw this away. Set it off to the side. I'm going to pop it right here onto my glass mat. So we'll probably use it. So we are going to just go ahead and do strips of all of these gorgeous washi tapes. And we're pretty much going to almost make our own patterned paper. And you can tear washi sheets from Brutus Monroe. Actually, that's kind of my favorite thing to do with them. I love to tear paper. Get these as straight across as you can. Don't panic about it. don't go crazy, but they do look better if you or they look their best if you can get them as straight as you can across here. And again, this is a cool design technique if you, no matter what kind of paper crafting you do. Don't be afraid to tear your things and then put them back together. Nikki asked, does that washi tape stick well? Yes, Nikki. This washi tape sticks amazing. It sticks like a sticker. It does not stick like regular washi tape at all. It sticks nice. It's very sticky. It doesn't come up, and we have a little bit of, it doesn't, yeah, it sticks fabulously. I totally know why you're asking that question, because I myself have had lots of not sticky encounters with washi tape and stickers. This stuff sticks good. Okay. Susan says, it's so good to be reminded to use contrast of light and dark together. I love to tear paper. I love to tear paper. It's so much fun. Sometimes when you are a creative person, you can get stuck in that rut of everything has to be perfect, right? And you really can. You can get stuck in that, I have to make this look the best, especially if you're doing gifts, or you're sending this to someone special, and sometimes there is something so freeing about taking something like a sheet of washi sheet, and just ripping into it and just saying, you know what? Let's tear some washi tape or whatever it is. Let's tear some paper. Let's see what we can do with this, right? So I think sometimes we're going to do portrait. So we can do portrait or horizontal. I'm really trying, as I do this, I'm trying super hard to make it so that we're doing the horizontal and the portraits, and it's not all one or the other. But we have all these horizontal lines on this particular page. Let me push this up. I just realized I looked over at the camera and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of down in the corner. Let's fix that. But we have all these horizontal lines here. And so I think I want to do another portrait photo to kind of break up some of that horizontal lines. The other thing I think I really want to do is to go ahead and add a little flower up here like that. And that can go off the edge a little bit and it will be done. Now, as you flip through this, these are pretty easy. Like, these are nice, this is not, this is something you guys can do. I kind of made everything to be not super technique heavy, nice. You can easily put this together for, if you wanted to do a gift. Okay, so there is this little bit. And if you wanted to, you could go back through, like you could get your album all done, and then you could go ahead and go back through and do, you could add little blings or little things to it if you want. But I would do that after you've added your photos. because you don't know, if you put a really colorful photo here, that's going to complete it, right? Your page will be done. Okay. Nikki says we're still, oh, my husband's a Steeler fan. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, definitely. Steeler fans all the way. We're going to start to use some of the, we only have 2 more. So how are we doing? How are we doing? I think we'll be done by 8. That was my goal. I'm like, I think it's going to take me 2 hours to put this together. So here is that piece that we added the linen to. It's completely dry and you can kind of see how it looks. And then remember those washi sheets that are over here? Look at this. They are going to fit across here perfectly. So we're going to do a light one. And we're going to do a dark one. And then we're going to do one across the top here. And then in the middle, we can add our horizontal photograph. I'm thinking that. So we have these 2, and these are going to be face pages, right? So you want them to kind of look not exact, but have some things in common, right? So we have the torn washi, and now I'm going to do a horizontal photo instead of the portrait. And then I'm going to add another flower down here, kind of tuck it underneath. And this is the larger flower. We're going to have that one be over here. And so when you do this, you have this diagonal, similar elements, and it will coordinate and look really, really nice. You want to try it, Susan? Let's try it. So this one has some schmutz on it. Unfortunately, you know what? We did this whole messy, all the messy on this side. So of course, we're going to have some messy on the back too. Okay. Let me just flip under here. Oh, okay. Hold on, I have to catch up on the comments. Nikki says she's been using old stickers and had to go glue some or use foam tape. I've been making these medium scrapbooks made of cereal box cardboard and covered with pattern paper. The pages are made of solid cardstock. Oh, that sounds interesting. And also cool that you are reusing the cereal boxes. That's awesome. We went to day 1 of training camp this year. Yeah, we've been to training camp a couple times. We didn't go this year because my husband is all about the football, but my boys are not really. Yeah, training camp was it's fun. If you can ever get to go and you're a Steeler fan, it's definitely fun. I have a one of the years that we went, I have a Ben Roethlisberger signed t-shirt. Yes, yes, I do. Okay. Susan says another page is torn washi tape laid down in a horizontal pattern. How would it be to alternate torn and cut washi strips either horizontally or vertically? So let's do that. let's go this way. I'll tear 2. In half-ish. Ish. Okay. And then we'll start with a straight one. And we'll butt this right up against here. And it will work perfectly. Just have a little bit to trim off. Okay, and then we'll take this one. We'll leave a little bit of a line. A little bit of a break where you can see the tag through. And we'll trim that. And then, so I'm thinking we'll leave a gap and add the photograph there. First of all, can I just say, like, I love that. That looks so cool. So we had have our, where are we? Horizontal or vertical? Portrait or landscape? We're at portrait. So let's put our portrait, you know what? Let's put it here. And then let's tuck one of our flowers in here. And then I think we do. We have one more little word, title, here. So let's do that. So I hope that was what you were kind of thinking, Susan, when we give you an idea of what it looks like with that washi tape going the other direction. Push this over a bit. There we go. Yay! Candy said she made it for the last half. Shell says it's looking really cool. Nikki says I only got one to meet Jess at Brutus Monroe. Christopher was sick. Yep. Jess is awesome, though. Yes, Candy, you made it for the last half. We are actually almost, where are we? Yep, we're good. Okay, first of all, I just have to toss this out there. All of you that have been here since the beginning and have actually stayed for this entire, what is going to end up being 2-hour live, you are amazing and I adore you. Because that's a lot. Okay, so here are our last two pieces. So we have this piece, which look how like awesome that looks with the copper shimmer over top of it. Like so good, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I'm just going to make sure I'm not missing anything anywhere. Okay. So we can go ahead and use that one. And we still have the 3 flowers, which is perfect. So for this page, if you wanted to, I have a couple different ideas. The first thing you could do is that you could make this just a filler page. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that you could really just take 2 of your flowers, kind of put them diagonal here, and just make them fun. Like just make this a breather page, no photographs. Or you could add a photograph. So what do you guys think? We have all of our pages here. Should we add another photograph? I actually think that it would look better with this. So we could add a photograph and then maybe just a washi strip across the bottom, and that's it. That's all that that would need because we have all this color and interest and shininess in our background. Or we can make this just a decorative page. Does not have to have a wow, I really messed that up. Photo, just the flowers and leave it like that. What do you guys think? Kelly said, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Kelly. Yes, I always incorporate the schmutz into the page. You have to, because it's going to happen. So you kind of have to have things that allow you to make mistakes, right? We want you don't want to be stressed out about your project. So it's awesome to learn a couple of techniques, a couple of things you can do so that when inevitably the schmutz happens, you can cover it, fix it, work around it, whatever you want. Thank you so much, Kelly. Kelly says add the photo. We added the photo. And then we're going to keep this super, super simple. I'm going to go ahead and add one of the washi sheets across the bottom. And then over the top of this one, I'm going to add another torn strip across the middle for a little bit of interest. And to see that there. Just going to give it that little bit extra of something. Okay, so now I just flip this over and let's add some more paper because we haven't done that. Ooh, I have an idea. Okay, so is there a, maybe there isn't one in here. Okay, hold on. I don't know if this paper pad has the piece with all the patterns on it. That's what I'm looking for. The one with all the strips of all the patterns. It's going to be like the last one I pick up, right? Oh, wait, I think it's behind this one. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we are going to do half and half with this paper. Actually, let's do a little bit more than half. Let's do like 2/3, 1/3. So we're going to come up pretty high on the tag, about 2/3. Oh, you are so welcome, Susan. I'm so glad. Sometimes, Cheryl says sometimes she likes to add a word or two that tie in with the photos you put in the mini booklet. That's a very good idea. Yes. And you could definitely do that. I kept this one pretty versatile. You could always customize it, customize the words, customize the little titles to, you could add some journaling if you wanted to add some journaling to the, add some journaling to your page. Lots of things you can do. Nikki says, I'm still new to making those books, so the two I've made so far have mistakes. That's okay. Guess what? Nikki says so they have mistakes. Yes, they're going to. It's handmade. That's the whole point of having something that's handmade, right? It's not supposed to be perfect ever. Sorry, I had a thought and then I lost it. I lost my train of thought completely because I was focusing on cutting out the paper. All right. Okay. And then we still have some of these torn washi bits, and I don't want to waste them. So I'm going to go ahead and do, this is really similar to what we did with the diagonal piece, but instead we're going to use a lighter one and pop it across the top. So I think we're doing pretty good alternating the colors and also alternating our horizontal or vertical pretty well. So I feel like that looks really nice. Just like that, we have all this dark pattern down here because I used this strip paper. So we need some light and bright up at the top, and we'll just keep it really simple. And then when you put your photo down, if you feel like it needs more, you can always go ahead and add more to it. You can always add more to something, but you can't it's harder to take things away. Okay. There we go. Last tag. I personally like my books to have a definite beginning and a definite end, right? So for the back of this tag, I want to do something, but it's not going to be a photo, and it's going to be something that says, this is the end. Something kind of easy, right? So in this case, it might just end up being like a center pattern paper with a flower. And that's good. Something that says, this is the end of our book. And so we just have one more inside piece. We could, so I still have this scrap. This is the part where I start to look at the scraps, the things I've already cut into. What do I have? And if there is something that I'm afraid I won't ever use again if I don't use it now, that's what we want to get onto these kind of last two pages, right? So I know that if I don't use up these flowers, that and I have this like amazing thought in my head that I'm going to somehow keep them and put them on something else, I'm not going to. I know me. And we have these torn pieces of washi tapes that I know if I don't use them, either on one of my last 2 pages, they're not going to get used. And then for scraps, this diagonal one, I know I won't use it again because I'll be like, it's a funny shape. That's just me. That might not be you. I am. So what I want to do now is I want to use those things on my last 2 pages. I want to get those 2 things used so that they aren't cluttering up my scrapbook room. I'm not constantly pulling them out and looking at them and going, but I didn't use it. So I'm going to start with this paper. I'm going to keep this because we're going to use that on the back page. Susan said she loved the live. Thank you so much, Susan. I'm so glad you enjoyed this. I am so glad. I'm so glad. It was a success. Nikki, so I'm on Facebook as Sara Scraps. I'm on Instagram as Sara Scraps. I'm on YouTube as Sara Scraps. I have a Facebook group that is called Rediscover Your Stash. So you can find me any of those places. Any of those places. I kept it nice and easy on everybody to find me. It is just Sara Scraps, all those places. I think I somehow ended up with a Threads account too. Like just by default. Okay. So we're going to take that piece and we're going to trim it up around the back. And then I'm just going to kind of recreate the page that we did earlier with the diagonal paper and the washi tape to go ahead and kind of fill it in. Yes, I have. Nikki says, so you have a group. Yes, I have a Facebook group. So let me see what I have left. I have this full sheet that isn't torn into, and I know if I don't use it, that I'll use that again. That's an easy usage. But this torn one, we won't use that again if we don't use it now. So that's the one we're going to choose to use now. The reason I didn't use these smaller pieces over here is because I'm putting them at a diagonal. And I don't have enough length on the smaller scraps to make it all the way across there. So I planned that I was going to try to get 12 pictures into this album. I'm going to end up with just 9. So, which perfectly fine. If you end up wanting, definitely you have 12 photos, you want to put 12 photos in the mini album, just go ahead and grab another tag and do front and back. Maybe recreate one of these other pages again, maybe with a different color, something like that. Okay, so we're going to line our photograph up, and this could be horizontal or vertical. I just like a portrait. And then I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to tuck them up under here. Again, because I know if they don't go into this album, I won't use them again. So let's get them into our album. And I'm just going to keep them on the diagonal, just like the other ones. Okay. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know who host is, but thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for putting my links up. I appreciate that. Use your scraps. Is that what you said? For my Facebook group, it's Rediscover Your Stash. And whoever put my links up, you are fabulous. Okay, so there is the last page. Now the back page, we're gonna do, we're gonna keep it really simple. We're gonna use up all of these pieces, all of these last little bits, and then we're gonna put the title on. And there are two different ways that we can bind this book. I'm gonna show you both of them after we put our title on. And I think for time, we're really good. Yes, we are good. Yay. That was my biggest thing tonight. I'm like, I am going to bore people with this mini album. So the fact that you're not bored and you stuck around till the end makes me so happy. Okay, so this is that strip from this scrap paper because we wanted to use it, right? I don't like keeping a lot of little bits and pieces from a project and thinking in my head that I'm going to use them. Not happening. Won't happen. Yay, thank you, Penny. Okay. Thanks, Nicole. I do have admins in my group. So if someone catches you before I do, you might get in before I go in. I'm not the only admin in my group. So, and thank you very much, Penny, for the links. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all of these last little pieces of washi and I'm just going to pop them on. I love this one with the sunflower. Like that is so cute. So we have some that are the torn and we have some that are the straight. I'm just going to go ahead and use the last of them. And then when we're all done, so if you grab the bundle and you go ahead and make the album, you will have lots of leftover product. So you'll have all those mixed media product, you'll have the ink pad, you'll have most of the 6x6 paper pad. You'll have another, because there's two of these chipboards in the package, so you'll actually be able to make two. You could actually make two full albums because I have another sheet of washi over there that's completely unused from the washi pack. And there are 20 tags in the tag back. So, you know what? Okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to tear the washi more and kind of fudge it because this piece is not long enough to go all the way across the tag, but I don't want to waste it and I want to use it. So I tore it and there'll be a little gap in the middle and that's where we're going to put the flower. So I think you could quite easily get two tag albums out of one of the bundles. Now that I've done one and I see how much product here is left. So once I get all my pictures printed, and I print from home. So as soon as I get them from my printer and my pictures printed, I will take photos of all of this and put it into the Facebook group, Bruce Monroe Facebook group, and I will, hold on, I'm getting distracted. Okay, I'm gonna center this. And then this album, when it's all finished, is actually going to go to the store for display. So the chipboard piece, the Hello Fall piece, is going to go off the edges a little bit. That doesn't bother me in the least. In fact, sometimes when you make a mini album, you want things to go off the edges. If it's paper, it might be a little bit get bendy, right? Or broken or something. But this chipboard is super solid. So I'm not worried about this little piece or this little piece that's going to go off the edges. I'm not worried in the least because this is nice, thick, solid chipboard. It's not going to, it would take a lot for it to get damaged or anything. This inner piece is a little bit more delicate, but that's just because it's really delicate. And once I get it glued on top of the base piece, it will be totally fine. And it will be nice and secure. Okay. I'm going to start over here, and we're just going to go ahead and get this all lined up. So on Wednesday on my YouTube channel, coming up, I have another fall 12 by 12 layout using another set of the Brutus Monroe chipboard and another 6x6, the other fall 6x6 paper pad, all kinds of fun goodies there too. Okay, so there is the front of our album. Isn't that so cool? My glue will dry completely clear. You'll never see it. So there is all of the pages. Now, how do we bind this together? So you have two options on how you can do that. And they both pretty much do the same thing. So we have the tag and we have the hole in the center of all of the tags. So one way that we can do it that's super simple is to take a jump ring. And you can get these in stationery stores or, pretty much anywhere. And just clip a little jump ring around the top. So that's one way that we can bind it. And then it's done. Really, really easy. And you can just flip through it however you like. You can also flip through it this way with the jump ring. Like you can flip through it however you want. So that is one way that we can bind it. The other way that we can bind it is with some hemp cord. Now, I will say that hemp cord is better than twine or anything else because hemp cord is it's a little tougher. It's not going to break on you or unravel on you. And again, this is a really easy thing to find. And so for the hemp cord, all you do is you take a pretty nice heavy um, nice heavy long length of it, right? And you're going to put it in half. And then you're going to put it in half again until you have a pretty nice thick amount of it. And then you want to go ahead and put each of the little tags into it. I love that. Nikki said, my friend Millie got me onto your channel. She saw your Hot Mess Knobles page video one and knew I just had to be there. Yes, yes. I'll tell you what, I have been a paper crafter, scrapbooker for 24 years. I started at the beginning of 2000. So if it doesn't matter how long you've been scrapbooking or how long you've been paper crafting, um you're still gonna make stuff you don't like. You're still gonna, mess up and all that, and I am here for it. I love that your friend Millie called it my hot mess Knobles layout because that's what it was. Okay, so while I was talking, I took that hemp cord and I slid all of the tags into it, and then I just tied a bow at the top with all of now. Probably it would be a really good idea to go ahead and add some glue to this, right? To glue the bow together so that it doesn't come apart on you. And then once you have it glued, take the end pieces and where there's loops instead of strings, clip them. So this gives you a binding that is a little bit more rustic, super, super cute, a little bit more textured. And depending on how, you can still go through and still flip through it, however you would like. And I mean, depending on, you could make this a little bit longer, you can make it a little bit shorter, but I would recommend, don't use embroidery floss, don't use twine. I wouldn't use twine. You want something that's a little bit more heavy duty, a little bit more rustic. And I really find that this like hemp cording is the best, the absolute best kind of thing to do it. Uh, you could also do ribbon. If you had like if a thicker ribbon, you could do a ribbon at the top. There's lots of options. These are just the two that I use the most. And for a fall album, I feel like this fun little the fun hemp cord is just really, really nice. Okay, so that's it. Our album is done. If you want to grab a bundle, it is listed in the description box. And you can also dip into your stash and add photos and pieces from your stash. So the sky's the limit. This would be a wonderful gift. It would be a wonderful memory book to maybe display in your home. And it's a one and done project. So this isn't something you have to keep up with. This isn't something you have to keep doing over and over again. You don't have to start like a new hobby to put this together. So I thought this would be really, really great for tonight's project. And like I said, from what I can see here, one of the bundles from Brutus Monroe that is down in the description box will easily get you 2 albums, enough product for 2 albums easily. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you are joining me from the future, I hope you enjoyed this project. And I can't wait to see if you create an album and you share it in social media. Please tag me. I would love to see all of your takes on this project and how you created yours. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will see you again really soon. Bye. Thank you, Candy. Candy said, great project. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was fun. It was a little different. It took a little longer, but it was so worth it. I was really in the mood to kind of make something that was a little more bigger. Thank you, Cheryl. Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. You all have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.